Welcome back to Podiatry Marketing. I'm one of your hosts, Jim McDaniel. Tyson, how's it going today?
It is really good, Jim. This is one of my favorite times of the week chatting with you because it's always fun. And even when I'm talking, if it's my topic or your topic, regardless of what we're talking about, I always take something away from it myself, which I know might sound weird, but I think sometimes when you're just talking through ideas or a concept with somebody else, it just, I know, all these synapses go off in your head. And yeah, so my favorite part of the week. So I am fantastic.
That's good to hear. I think one of these episodes we may have to have a storytelling about each one of our backgrounds. I think maybe we talked about a little bit of this in some of our previous episodes or maybe on your Podiatry Legends podcast, but just I do get a lot of value from also our conversations because I think we look at things somewhat similarly, but we're different enough where it's not just like I'm parroting exactly what you're saying and you're saying exactly what I'm saying. We have a little bit different takes on marketing and the way we've approached it in our practices and what our backgrounds are. So I think maybe sometime in the future would be fun just to dive a little bit deeper into each of who we are as we run out of topics. Maybe the audience would find that interesting to hear a little bit about our backgrounds. But before we get into that kind of stuff, we'll be a little more tactical. We'll be a little bit more on top of marketing. Let's just jump into today's topic. Last week, we talked about internal marketing. This week, what are we going to talk about?
This week, we're going to talk about external marketing. So over the last 4 times that I've taken control of the microphone, so to speak, and I'm going to cover the 6 pillars of marketing. So we've done professional referrers, non-professional referrers, internal marketing, and today I want to talk about external marketing. And I want people to understand what the difference really is between internal and external. So internal marketing is really, just a reminder, it's everything you do with how you market to your patients that are already patients of yours. They've already come into your clinic, they're already using your services, and you want them to either come back more often or you want them to come back and use another service that you may have introduced. So you may have had a number of general patients, you bring in a laser for fungal nails, you want them to know that you've got that and use that service. External marketing is everything you do outside of your business to market your business to attract new patients to your clinic. So that's the big distinction between the two.
Yeah, it's good to have that distinction. Like there's definitely different tactics that you're going to use depending on whether it's an internal marketing objective versus external. So thanks for clearing that up and providing that definition. Just to get us started, what are some ways or some strategies for external marketing that you've used in your practice or ways? We've talked a little about some of these things like Google Ads and other aspects, but what are some general concepts you like to frame the situation with?
I think one thing people need to understand is from the time you leave your house in the morning till the time you come back home and you close your doors and people can't see you should be in marketing mode. And you should be aware that you're in marketing mode. And as simple as having a work shirt that has your business name on the breast of the shirt. Because when we were setting up our Mackay clinic, one of the things we had uniforms, always had like polo shirts, sports shirts. And when we were setting up the Mackay clinic, we were down there off and on over about a 6-week period leading up to it opening and the clinic getting fitted out. Had a work shirt on everywhere I went. And the amount of patients and bookings we got before the clinic had even opened purely because I had a shirt on that had my business name on it. And one thing that I've picked up, and this may shock people, that whenever I wore a shirt that had Nike written on there, I never had anybody stop me and ask me about my podiatry clinic. But when I had a shirt on that had my name on there, especially a new podiatry business that no one had heard of, all of a sudden people were asking questions. Oh, have you just moved into town? Where are you located? What type of work are you doing? That's the number one thing for people to remember, that every time you leave the house, every person you come in contact with potentially could be a new patient. So make sure you're dressed appropriately. It doesn't mean on weekends you can't wear a pair of thongs and if you've got your favorite torn shirt and baggy shorts. I'm not talking about it. You can do that. But when I first set up my clinic, especially here in Cairns as well, probably the first year I set it up, even on weekends, I wore a shirt that had my business name on there because I really wanted people to know who I was or what the name of my business.
No, you have to find some ways of generating awareness for the care that you provide and walking around, being in public, talking with people, having interactions with folks in a positive way when you're wearing something like your logo. It's a huge opportunity. And like you said, if you're wearing a Nike or an Adidas logo, they're probably not going to think you're Phil Knight or the CEO of that company.
Yeah, really.
He's probably the only person, or maybe the current CEO is someone that can wear that stuff, but definitely not you. But As we make this shift from internal to external marketing, what are some other things to be aware of from maybe like a cost perspective? What things should people be aware of as they're moving from this, I'd say, more economical internal marketing aspect to external?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Internal marketing usually isn't always expensive. It can be quite inexpensive just through newsletters and other things you're doing internally in your business. External marketing can be seen as being a lot more expensive, and it can be extremely expensive if you're not getting return on your investment. And classic external marketing, like old schools, like newspapers, magazines, TV, radio, can be very expensive if you're pumping money into that and not getting a good return on it. But you can still use TV, radio in those areas, and they don't have to be expensive. So there was a company up here in Cairns that made this mango wine. And I could ask anybody in Cairns, oh, have you heard of such and such company? And everybody in Cairns would say, yeah, of course I've heard of them. Yeah, Golden Drop Mango Winery. Everybody knows who they are. And I said to them, where do they do their marketing? And they went, I'm not sure. I don't know why I know them then. And I said, I'll tell you right now, they advertise after 10 p.m. every night of the week forever. They've been doing that. Because have an ad after 10 p.m. at night where I live in the regional area, it was like $10 for a 15-second commercial. And all their ad said was Golden Drop Winery. And it showed the prestigious mango, and we make this beautiful wine. It's really short, really simple, but they only advertised really late at night. And why late at night? Because they were the people who are probably going to be drinking have come home from somewhere. They sat in front of the TV, flicked on just to unwind. And to me, so not all external marketing has to be expensive, but what I picked up from them, the consistency of doing something is just being in the same place on a regular basis, and you're eventually just capturing the people.
I think that's a perfect point, because it's not just about a week-long blast or a month-long blast. It has to be, this brand awareness takes time and consistency over periods of time. And I think you also touched on a really important aspect of things, is that when you're not getting that return on investment, any type of marketing bill, even a website bill, it feels like a bill and not an investment in improving your practice or increasing the volume or specific type of care you want to provide. But you're not going to get that. Anyone that promises 10 new patients next week, 50 new patients next month, I'd be a little bit wary of that, because it's something where it takes time and effort and consistency with these external marketing channels to make a dent, to get that awareness so people will come to you, trust you, make appointments with you. It's not something where you're just going to send out an email blast or advertise on TV for a week, and then the doors are going to open and a flood of patients are going to come into your clinic. It's about that long-term vision of the clinic that you want to build and being consistent, building towards that image of that clinic or that practice that you want.
I think it's funny that when the biggest load of BS I've ever seen is when there'll be different companies and they'll say, oh, we've got this text message campaign or an email campaign, and we'll guarantee you 30 new patients next month. And I'm like, that's the biggest load of crap I've ever heard, mainly because you can't just email complete strangers. So it's against the law to just go and grab people's email address and just email them and start marketing. You're not allowed to do that. So what they're really saying is, oh, we can get 30 of your existing patients coming back. So they're really talking about internal marketing, not external. And even if they do get 30 of your existing patients coming back, how many of your existing patients did you annoy in the process of you getting 30? So I just feel sometimes people are just grasping that they want quick fixes, and you want the blue pill, the red pill, and they jump onto these things thinking, oh, this is how I'm going to build my business really fast. And the best, like you said, the best way to build your business is with really good, long-term, strong foundations, and you slowly build it over a period of time. Now, when I say slow, you can build an amazing business in 12 months, but it's still, once you've got the foundations there, the business will still be strong another 5, 10 years time.
Yeah, it's about being authentic and building that reputation in your local area, right? Whether it's your local area or the type of care you provide, just being there consistently. You can't build a reputation like in 6 weeks or 6 months. It's going to take some time. And like you said, doesn't have to be a decade of consistency, but it has to definitely be at least 12 months, 5 years before you're seeing those it's almost like compound interest in a way. You put a little money away, you have a reasonable interest rate, You keep on putting the dollar cost averaging, investing for the long term in the future. Before you know it, 12 months, 36 months down the road, 5 years down the road, it's whoa, like it just compounds over time with that consistency.
Yeah. And the other part I want to point out to people too, when it comes to external marketing, usually with all external marketing, not all, I'm going to go over some really cheap ideas. So not everything is expensive. There's a couple that I want to share that I normally share in my marketing workshops. But one thing I want to point out to people, whenever you're dealing with external companies in any way, beware, I call them marketing sharks. And these are the people that will come to you with a proposal where it doesn't matter what the proposal is, read through it, look at the fine print. Do not sign anything until you've spoken to somebody else about it. Because somebody has to have a look at it and say, is this a good idea or isn't it? Because you can easily sign up for something where you're locked in and you think, oh no, but I can cancel it after 30 days notice. But in the fine print, it says, but first you have to run out the 12 months or whatever that agreement was. So just be very careful. And usually when you set up a new podiatry clinic in an area, as soon as you do one bit of advertising, these marketing sharks are out there just watching. They're looking for new businesses. And when your head pops up in one place, you will get emails from different places, phone calls, because they want your business. So if anybody I'll put this out to people, if anybody's being approached by somebody else in Australia, by someone from a newspaper, magazine, TV or radio, and they've approached you, you haven't approached them, and they're throwing a proposal at you, email it to me, tf@tysonfranklin.com. I'll take a look at it for you and I'll tell you whether it's a good deal or not. And I'll also tell you how you can get a hell of a lot more out of them for free. That's what you want. Because there's always give and take and everything is negotiable. That was my rant.
No, that totally makes sense. There's a lot of people out there that they want to lock you in, like you said, for that 12-month contract and then go on to the next person and lock the next person in and deliver on the list of deliverables. But until you can really understand what's in that contract to make sure it's going to be in the best interest of you and your clinic, having that ability to read the fine print is hugely important. So you don't get swindled and feel burned by an entire industry and lose trust that some of these things actually do work. So you want to make sure that you don't get suckered into something where, you just have remorse and turn down great opportunities in the future for a mistake you made in the past. So
and the thing for an example, somebody might come to you from a newspaper, a local newspaper or a local magazine, and they'll say, oh, this is what it costs to advertise. Say it's $600. Everything is negotiable. So if you're looking at, you go, actually, I think $600 is a good price for that, then it all comes down to positioning in the magazine is really important, whether you're on the left page, right page, all that. Won't go into the details of that, but you can always get other things. See, what do these guys put on events? Do they have a box at a sporting event? You say, oh yeah, I'll take that. I'll do that ad 3 times because you might be trying to promote something, but try and get some extra things out of it, whether it's free editorial space, whether it's an invitation to an event that they've got coming up. There's so many perks that you can actually get while you're doing external marketing as well. But I want to cover just a couple of ones that don't really cost too much. I'm going to share one that's free, and not too many people are brave enough to do this, but I used to do this all the time. So you're in Canada, say in America, what's your biggest electrical stores?
probably like Best Buy is the go-to.
Okay. I have heard of Best Buy. So in Australia, we have Harvey Norman, and we've also got JB Hi-Fi. So this is what I used to do. Every time I walked past their store, I would duck in there. I would go up to their computers and I would be looking at all the computers, the iPads. But before I left, I would make sure that my podiatry clinic was on the screen of as many computers as possible before I walked out. Now it got to the point where first time I just did one. And that's why I challenge everyone. Go in there and just do one. And then try doing 2. And then try doing 3. In one of the shops at JB Hi-Fi across from where my clinic was, they got so used to me being in there that I walk in and they go, hey, Tyson, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. They said, just putting your website up on the computers. Yeah, do you need a hand? What is it again? I go, oh, it's proarch.com. I go, okay. And they would do some of them for me. So we'd have a bit of a laugh about it. So it costs you nothing to do that. And the funny part is, I remember a patient coming in and said, oh, by the way, how'd you find out? I said, funny enough, I was over at JB Hi-Fi and I was walking around the shop and I had a sore foot and it was on a page about heel pain. And I went, oh, it was meant to be. But it costs you nothing to do that. Now, you don't have to go out of your way to do it. Just if you're going past an electrical store, put it on there. I would put it on their phones. And you have a bit of fun, have a bit of a laugh with it as well. But make sure you put it on a page of your website that's something that you really want to promote. The other idea that people can do that doesn't cost too much is sponsoring cups of coffee. So this comes back to, in an early episode when we were talking about who is your ideal patient. So when you know who your ideal patient is, and then you say to them, one of the questions, what's your favorite coffee shop? And they say, oh, such and such. If you find out a lot of your ideal patients hang around a certain coffee shop, you then go to that coffee shop and you sponsor the first 10 cups of coffee and you describe who you want it to go to. And that's sponsoring cups of coffee. Costs you $50. It's not really that expensive. And another idea that we used to do was charity golf days or corporate golf days. I don't know if have you ever done any of them?
Yeah, I've done them quite a few actually. I'm not a very good golfer, but it was always a fun day in the sun for sure.
Yeah, you only need to find a friend you just need one good golfer. And I knew a lot of good golfers, and I was not one of them. But we would get a golf buggy for the day, and it might cost us $400 for the golf buggy. And that included 4 people to play 18 holes. But you invite 3 people that you want to improve your relationship with. So to spend half a day, just think, how much would you pay to spend half a day with 3 of your best referrers? And they get to know and trust you a little bit more. So there were the guys that I used to take all the time had the biggest physiotherapy clinic in Cairns. Another guy had the biggest dietitian clinic, and the other person was the CEO of the Cairns Taipans, the national basketball team. So we did about 3 or 4 golf days together. We won 2. We also won best dressed because we'd go in costume even if it wasn't. But we had a really good time doing it. So that's the thing. Think outside the box. You don't have to spend a huge amount of money. Even sponsorship, we would be approached if you wanted to give money for sponsorship. And when you're being approached for sponsorship, really think about, is it sponsorship or is it a donation? And just be happy. Yeah, it's junior kids basketball. Just give them the money. Don't be a tight ass. Just give it to them. But we would do some triathlons, and instead of giving them money, we would offer them 10 initial consultations, biomechanical assessments, and they could distribute them however they wanted. And we'd put a 30-day limit on there. And usually about 50% of them would get used. And all we were really giving, it was our time. So this is what I'm saying, just think of these ideas and use whichever parts you want.
No, that makes total sense. I think you can get creative based off what your interests are, what type of events or activities you think some of your referrers you share and overlap with. I think those are great opportunities and relatively low cost ways to build that trust, get people to like you, and just build these kind of win relationships like we've been talking about previously. I think that's hugely important. Are there other things that we should remember when we go into external marketing things? Just a couple other tips maybe?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just to remember that any form of external marketing you're doing, it's not just new patients you're trying to bring into your business, but your existing patients are seeing what you're doing and your referrers are seeing what you're doing. So you can't see a referrer and say, oh, we're the most prestigious podiatry clinic and talking about quality and all that. And next thing you're marketing externally is, we're the discount podiatry clinic. It's not congruent. And all of a sudden they're going, hang on, didn't you just come and tell me that you're the best podiatry? And now you're telling me you're the cheapest podiatry clinic. But also don't market something and offer new patients this amazing deal to come in and see you. But your existing patients who have been seeing you for ages, you're not giving them any benefits at all. And I've seen, not in podiatry so much, but subscription channels have done that where sign up for us and it's only $50 a month for the first 12 months. And I'm there going, hang on, I've been with you for 10 years and I'm paying $80 a month. Some bastard who hasn't given you any money for 10 years, you're going to let them have this service for $50 a month. And this is a true story. I rang them up and said, I'm not happy. And they said, why? And I said, I've been with you for 10 years. They're getting it for $50. I'm paying 80. And they were, oh, sorry, sir, but that's just, that's for new customers. So good. Cancel my subscription and I'll sign back up again tomorrow. And they went, oh, well, I don't think we can do it. I said, well, just cancel my subscription then. So they said, I'll get the manager. So the manager gets on the phone and he said, oh, here, you want to cancel it? Yeah, I've got the shits. I want to cancel it. He said, look, we'll give it to you at $50 a month. I said, now I've got the shits. I said, I want you to cancel it. So they did. They canceled it. And I missed it. I missed it really bad. But I stood by my principles and I never rejoined on that particular service. I won't say who they were. So
I think that's like that's on brand for you. And that's what we're talking about here. Is that consistency is what does your brand mean? What does your clinic mean? Maybe we'll get into more like a brand discussion in the future. I guess we touched on it a little bit when we talked about finding your ideal patient, knowing what kind of care you want to provide. That consistency and like how you present yourself publicly is hugely important. Because if you, like you said, if one day you're the best and most skilled podiatrist, great. But then you turn around and then 2 weeks later, you're either crazy expensive and low quality, or you're just like super discounted and cheap. Like your messaging is not being consistent or on brand, and you have to put out that public face and just be consistent with it. Otherwise you confuse people, you erode some of that trust you've built, and it can lead to poor outcomes for your practice.
Yeah. Like I said, everything you do needs to be on brand, right through to your colors, just everything. So whether it's external marketing, internal marketing, you're talking to somebody, and circling all the way back to uniforms, for example. We always had these polo shirts that you would wear that you could wash them, hang them up, never needed to be ironed. They were fantastic shirts. Never faded, just what the material was. And they were a great shirt. But I had one guy that was working with me for a while. He said, I don't feel comfortable in polo shirts. And he wasn't really the most athletic looking dude either. So he said, would I be able to get like a business type shirt? I would prefer to wear a business shirt tucked in. That's just who I am. And I went, yeah, okay. I don't have a problem with that, because the girls wore more of a business type shirt that they'd chosen. I said, okay, you find the business shirt. That's fine. So he got a business shirt. I said, yep, it's a good looking shirt. So he wears it the first day. It's great. But then all of a sudden he comes back the next day and he bought a couple of them. So a week later, I said to him, out of curiosity, yeah, I said, love your shirts, but do you know how to use an iron? He said, oh, it doesn't look too bad. I said, it looks like shit. I said, it's wrinkled. It looks terrible. I said, go home and iron that shirt. And I sent him home. I said, go home and iron your shirt. And so he did this for a couple of weeks. And eventually I said, you're banned from wearing those shirts. And here are your shirts. Wear the polo shirts. Don't ask me again. And so that was because the brand of my clinic, I was really fussy with everything. Just had to be right, because it was our image. So if he turned up with a wrinkled shirt on, and I'd look at it and I'd just go, that just says you're sloppy. If you're prepared to wear a wrinkled shirt to work, what are you doing with orthotics when nobody's watching? Are you cutting corners? So yeah, sorry. I got off track.
Well, no, it's totally okay. You had to be a little self-conscious. I was going to sneak a peek at my own shirt and think, oh, am I looking okay?
I was doing exactly the same thing. Yeah, I did exactly the same thing. I'm thinking, I've just ranted about people's shirts. I'm looking at my shirt and go, oh yeah, it doesn't look too bad. I know people on the podcast go, oh, your shirt looks fine from our ears.
Yeah.
But if you're watching any of the videos that we put out, then you'll see we're both wearing really well-ironed shirts.
Yeah, we're looking good today. If I can say so myself, I think we're both looking pretty good.
Oh, we're looking very dapper. And I'm not sweating as much as I was when we started. I've actually started to cool down.
That's the life in Australia and in Cairns. I don't have to worry about that in Montreal too often.
No, so I think we've pretty well covered this topic. Like I said, external marketing is massive. And there's so many different things about it. And even when you're breaking it down to newspaper magazines, trying to get media releases, advertorials and editorials, each of those little topics, you could almost break that down to an episode itself, because there's a lot of detail when it comes to external marketing, which is why if I'm ever doing a marketing workshop in the future, people should jump on board. But I don't have any planned.
We'll keep our ears open for that. And until the next time, thanks again, Tyson, for the great look at external marketing, and we'll talk again soon.
Yep, that'd be great. I'll talk to you later.
Bye, Tyson.